Good afternoon. Today is September 10th, 2015. This is the Baltimore City Board of Liquor License Commissioners. Chairman, are you ready for the first item?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the first item is Ba Che Chen, Yin Ming Chen at Chen's Liquor, Inc. This is trade name B&O Cafe at 1301-3 West Pratt. This is a Class B BD7 application of change of ownership.
Counsel for the record.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. David Wu, representing the applicants Ping Chai Chen and Yum Ming Chen. They're his father and she's a daughter. And they will be operating under the corporation Chen's Liquor, Inc. On the application, there's an S, but it's actually Chen's Liquor without S. And Ms. Chen will be the main operator of the business, and both of them have extensive experience in dealing with liquor establishments, and they won't be making any changes to the premises at this time. And they did meet with the president of Mount Clair Neighborhood Association, Ms. Nancy McCormick, yesterday, and they went over all the details about the cooperation and the safety of the premises and so forth. So they will be cooperating with the neighbors to operate this establishment in safety.
Was there something put in writing?
Actually, the memorandum is coming, but we don't have it today.
Now, they both worked at the China Dragon
Yes.
in Landover.
Mhm.
Bing worked there for 5 years, and Yun worked there for 15 years,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And during that period of time, they both had experience with liquor sales and/or distribution or use, or
Yes, both of them. Yes.
both of them? Okay. Other questions from the commissioners?
Yes, have they participated in the training program?
Yes, she's already done that. Yes. We'll be submitting the certificate.
No problem.
Madam Secretary, is our file in order?
Yes, there's no other information that is required for the initial approval. As Mr. Wu has said, he will provide a copy of the information upon the transfer. And if they can provide a copy of the MOU, that would be great for the file.
Okay. I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is on our regular docket. It's Amy Okabaisi and Shinhoki Jongyi Hen Han, Kipo Ramen, LLC, Kipo Ramen at 606 South Broadway. This is a Class B.
Oh, he's,
There's Pete right here. Come on up, Pete.
I don't know. Mr. Previs, do you need a couple seconds with your client?
Yeah, if I may have one.
Okay. He called and said he'd be late, so he's just now here, so give him the opportunity to
Okay.
meet with his clients.
Then-
Let's go to the next one.
Okay, we can go to item number 3.
Okay.
That would be Randall Etheridge and Brendan Flannery, and this is Brendel Inc. Trade name is The Idle Hour at 201 East Ford Avenue, a Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor. This is a request for hardship extension under 2B 10504D.
Okay. You are?
I'm Randall Etheridge.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. We'll have you sworn in.
Sure.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Do.
All right. Step up here, Mr. Etheridge, and speak into this mic because you're going to be on YouTube, see? All right. So tell us about your request for the hardship extension, the day or days that you were open so that you are within the statutory period.
We were opened, there were 2 days in March that we were open on March 17th and March 30th. I have credit card receipts and the tax sales use forms from that.
Do you have copies for
Yes.
us? Okay, why don't you give me the copies? Thank you. Second, okay.
And then we applied for the hardship within the 90 days from the March 30th date.
Right. And the purpose is to do what, to reopen? Is that-
Yes, we're planning on reopening. There was a party wall between the bar and the house next door that needed to be fixed, so we're doing that as we speak.
And that's why you were shut down.
Correct.
And now you're going to, are you going to expand?
No,
No, you're just fixing the
just
party
fixing
wall.
the problem, yep.
Okay. Madam Secretary?
As long as the proof of the operations, which is what he's provided, shows that he's open, which is what his email verified from me, and he's provided documentation, I think that he's within the law to be able to have this hardship extension.
And for the record, I've seen the exhibits, the other commissioners have seen the exhibits. I'm fine with it. I'm a yes.
When will you reopen?
We're hoping to reopen by the end of October.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Okay, step down there. Have a good day, thank you.
Ms. Russell's in the back. Thank you very much, Mr. Etheridge.
I don't see Mr. Previs, so
So do you want to do the reconsideration? Oh, wait, nope, no, they're not coming back
no, I
in.
don't see him, so I guess we'll do the reconsideration.
Okay, I'll give a second. Okay.
Yeah.
Jawinger Singh and Andre Butler. This is at 1542 Singh LLC. The trade name is Langerman's on Light Street, 1542 Light Street. This is a Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor. A request for reconsideration of the board's decision on June 18th, 2015. Board Chairman, there are going to be several, I know there will probably have several people that are going to testify in regards to this case. This is back on June 18th, the board heard, actually, the previous board heard this case. There was only 2 commissioners present, and so there was a request to rehear this item. We have done I do have some staff here in regards to inspection data, so that in regards to the opening of the licensee, so that we can, and they're available if you need us to testify on that behalf. So we're just going to let, as far as this would start as the transfer again, I guess would be the reconsideration. You'll need to look at all the factors of consideration for a transfer.
Correct. So this is set as a reconsideration, but actually, none of the 3 of us have ever considered it, so we
Right.
can't reconsider it. So it's going to be a new hearing, and we're going to hear everything. Now, the people that are going to testify, I'm assuming, are Mr. Singh and these folks. So everyone that intends to testify in this case, please raise your right hand and be sworn in.
Hold on for 1 second. Let me make sure my inspector also is sworn in. Okay,
Okay.
Joanne's in the back as well.
Everyone that intends to testify, please raise your right hand, because I'm going to look and see who we have. Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. Now, just in terms of procedural, what I need from the community is this is being taped, so I need you to speak into the microphone, number 1. Number 2, for the community, I don't need to have repetition of the same thing, okay? That's not evidentiary, that's not probative, so that's what I don't need. So if you have something new to offer, we'll be glad to listen to you. If you have some argument to offer, we'll be glad to listen to you. But I don't need to have 6 people tell me that they don't want it. I understand that. I've got the letter and I've seen that, okay? So what we're going to do procedurally is Mr. Kandensky is going to present his side. The community, yes, ma'am.
Commissioner, we actually wanted to move to dismiss first before we even get to the hearing. So procedurally, I'm not sure how you want to do that.
You want to make a motion to dismiss?
Dismiss to dismiss the proceeding, the granting of a hearing, because we don't believe there's grounds for the case to even be heard again.
That's your bailiwick.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Kandensky?
I don't know what the grounds are.
I don't know what the grounds are either.
I have nobody's giving me a motion to dismiss, so.
It'd be an oral motion motion to dismiss, looking at well, actually.
identify yourself.
Right, Marianne Sennett, for the record. The grounds for the case to be reconsidered is under Calvert County versus Planning Commission versus Howling Realty Management, which is a Court of Appeals case, 364 MD 301. For an administrative board to reconsider a decision, there must be a showing of fraud, surprise, mistake, or inadvertence. None of that is here before the board.
But didn't I just say that this is not a reconsideration? That this is a whole new hearing because we weren't members of the previous board to reconsider anything?
But I believe that the standard for reconsideration should apply because what you're basically doing is revisiting a decision that the prior board had made.
So if I rule on your oral motion, okay, then probably my suspicion is Mr. Kudensky files an appeal in the circuit court. Okay, that's my suspicion. The problem is that you're putting him in a position to do an oral motion to dismiss, which gives him no option but to go to the circuit court. If I rule against your motion, that allows your group to go to the circuit court within 30 days, okay? And so the question then is there an equitable weighing between an oral motion that council didn't have any notice of or an ability to respond? That's honestly, that's problematic from a legal standpoint. And so my response to you is that the motion is denied. Okay? So we're going to go with Mr. Kudensky's case, then we're going to go with your case.
Can I provide further evidence before you deny it?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the basis of Mr. Kudensky's letter is that there was false allegations that were made in a affidavit. There were no false allegations made in that affidavit. I am the person who did that affidavit. I'm actually a public defender by day, and I'm an officer of the court. The content of that affirmation was based on information that Mr. Kudensky's clients gave us, that Mr. Kudensky was aware of as of June 8th.
So why wouldn't we hear that on the merits, counsel? Why wouldn't we hear that in the merits hearing rather than a motion?
It would be a way of preventing having to go into the whole merits hearing if you're going to grant the motion denying a hearing.
Grant the motion denying the hearing. We're going to hear the case, okay? That you can do whatever you're going to do. We're going to hear the case. That's it. He's going to present his side. You're going to present your side. He'll have an opportunity to cross, and then the commissioners will decide. That's what we're going to do, okay? Mr.
For the
Kudensky.
record, Melvin J. Kudensky, representing the applicant in this case. This is an application to transfer an existing license at 1542 Light Street, a BD7. The applicant in this case, Mr. Jaswinder Singh, is applying for the transfer of that license. He previously had the license at the Caton House at 1506 Caton Avenue in 2012 and 2013. He has since sold that business. He does not have an interest in any other business at this time, and he'll be the person, the 99% owner of the LLC. The city resident, Mr. Andre Butler, has a 1% interest. He'll operate it as a BD7. For the record, he has met with the community groups on at least 3 occasions.
Is Mr. Butler here?
He's on his way.
Okay, all right.
He's en route.
All right.
He's met with the community group on 3 different occasions. He was presented an MOU in which he agreed on 99% of the things that were said in the MOU. The only thing he did not agree to was to be bound by a 50% food requirement, which is not required by BD7. He would agree to sell some food, but he's not going to agree to be bound by BD7. I would point out that the current license, copy which I'm going to hand to you, into council. Provides for the use of the first and second floors for a tavern and restaurant with live entertainment, basement for storage. Licensee may provide off-premises food and alcohol in refillable containers. It also has a live entertainment component, which he is going to give up. He also give up the use of the second floor for the business. So he had made concessions to the community for this, and he's buying the property too. He's not only just buying the business, he's buying the property. That would be
What about the premises to be kept closed after 11?
doors.
Doors to be
Yeah.
closed after 11 a.m. I suspect there was some noise complaints?
It had to probably, I don't know when it came, when that was
All right.
put on there.
Okay.
Madam Secretary, because William Hartlove, I think he's dead,
All
as
right,
far as I know, so he's, have to worry about him being barred from the premises.
okay, all right. Go ahead.
All right, Mr. Singh, you want to step up?
Yeah, I think
Could you state your name and address for the record?
My name is Jaswinder Singh. I live Elk Ridge, Maryland.
And you had a license on Caton Avenue, is that correct?
Yes.
You had the Caton House,
Yes.
and how many years did you own that?
The 4.
4 years? And
Yes.
during, you had a violation during that time, is that correct?
Yes, one time.
Was it serving minor?
My employee was serving. I pay fan. Yeah.
Your employee served, but you took responsibility for it, is that correct?
Yes, my responsibility.
And you had the alcohol awareness certificate when you were there?
Yes.
And what are your hours of operation going to be here? What time do you plan to open and close here?
9 to 2.
All right, and that you have heard what I told the board about what you would differentiate on the license. You would agree not to use the second floor.
No.
You would agree you would have no live entertainment.
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you would agree to sell some food, but not
Yeah,
you want to
some
be.
food. Yes.
And you've met with the community on how many different times?
3 times.
3 times?
Yes.
All right, and recently as of this past week, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and then along with your employees that you'll have, will you agree to hire people from the community?
Yes.
If you can? And along with that, your experience in the business has been that you've owned this other establishment for 4 years.
Yes.
Objection to the leading of this testimony. This is direct.
He's already testified to it, I'm just,
He didn't testify to us.
how long did you have a license on Caton Avenue? How long were you licensee there?
4 years.
Okay.
2010 and I sold now this year, last year.
Okay. All right, and you don't have any interest in any other establishments, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, I have no further questions.
Cross?
Mr. Jaswinder, who is Vinny Galate or Vinay Galati?
Vinny Galati, real guy, real estate guy.
Pardon?
Yes.
He's a real estate guy.
Real estate guy.
Okay, and he asked you information about the liquor license that you presently own on June 8th, isn't that correct?
June 8th. No.
You were asked by the Neighborhood Association, the property owners in South Baltimore, about what liquor licenses the buyers had, correct? Sorry.
Yeah.
Correct?
You understand the question?
Yes, he understand. My cousin brother, he gives you good.
No, wait.
Okay. No. Okay, which one liquor license? You in the.
I don't think he understands what you're asking.
Okay. You were asked by the property owners of South Baltimore what liquor licenses you were involved in, correct?
Yeah, I did liquor license over there.
Okay. And the information that you provided to Mr. Galati was that you presently owned the liquor station at 6510 Harper Road?
Listen. You repeat how many time? Okay, I told you only one liquor store. My name Caton was. I already sold. Have my Indian lot of people liquor store. Not all me. Okay.
You provided to Mr.
Provided no, Mr. You misunderstand. I have my cousin brother, my friend liquor store, not me.
You provided to Mr. Galati.
I don't know. You misunderstand. You Glati misunderstand.
Can you let her finish?
Let her
her
ask the question.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
provided information that you owned the liquor station and 1056 Maiden Choice Lane, correct?
No, liquor station, my wife name. But Maiden Choice, I remember him, but I know all of inside.
And you told him that you previously owned the Caton House, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at Caton House, you had the violation for serving an underage
Yes.
person, correct?
My play, yes.
And
I
that-
pay fan. Yeah.
You also had the inspectors come out and speak to you about the poker machines not being up to date on permits, correct?
Yeah, I have a permit, but it's happened, you know.
Okay, and you also had the liquor inspectors come out to see, there was a complaint that you were allowing people with open containers run around.
No.
They came out to investigate that, correct?
No,
Did you meet with the inspectors after they come out to talk with you? To
No.
investigate? No? Okay. Now, the poker machine problem was in 2010,
I'm going to
correct?
object to the characterization of being a problem. He was never charged with anything.
Well, okay, sustained with the wordage problem, but rephrase your question.
Okay. The poker machines without the permit was in 2010, correct?
She's asking you a question.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And may I have this marked? This defense one?
Yeah, go ahead. Mhm. Show it to Mr. Kadensky, then I'll give it to the other commissioners.
That's the Caton House. These are, I believe you're gonna, I believe that is a copy of an inspection from September 7th, 2009. Is that
Yes,
what
it
you're
is.
talking about?
Yes, it is.
Because it's already in the existing file, so that's why I'm just making sure we have it as part of the last set of information.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
this is a copy of inspection dated September 9th, 2009 regarding the Caton House.
But it had nothing to do with the poker machines.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the
Okay.
poker machines.
Okay, so now I'm confused. Your line of questioning was on the poker machines. This exhibit is for the inspection in September.
It's September about the people with open containers.
Got it. Okay, so we're off of the poker machines now.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Can I show that to Mr. Singh to see if that refreshes his recollection about the inspector coming to investigate whether or not people were coming and going with open containers?
It doesn't say that, but, you know, you're saying it says that people was observed doing it. There's no in there indicating that they didn't see anybody doing it.
My question is, were they sent out to investigate a complaint about open containers?
I'm not sure how he would know if they were sent out. I'll object.
The investigators provide information when they go out to investigate?
Well,
Hold on. His objection is that his client wouldn't know that the office sent them out. So if I may, the question that I think you want to know from Mr. Singh is, was he aware that the inspectors came out as a result of a complaint for open containers? Yes or no?
Correct.
Right, okay.
no.
Says no.
He said no.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to. I'll object to it for, as long as I can refer back to it, you can take it as an exhibit and you'll decide what you want to do.
Okay, I'll lay it there.
And who is Sudev Singh?
Sukhdev Singh?
Yes.
Sukhdev Singh, I have a in Revital, all the time temple, my friend.
Okay. And he's a partner with you at Punjab LLC, correct?
I don't know who Punjab LLC.
Okay.
How many 100 liquor store Indian guy? All me?
But before I get to this, let me come back to, you were asked by the property owners of Baltimore, South Baltimore, whether or not you had any violations before you met with us on June 8th, 2015. Isn't that correct?
Which violence, which store?
Pardon?
This store, talking about
Store
Cane House?
violence.
Any violations for any liquor establishments you had was the question that was posed.
No.
You weren't asked that. And when you met with the neighborhood association on June 8th, you initially said that you had no violations for any of your liquor licenses, didn't you?
No, violation, I told you, I did one time give me underage, take it to Caton House,
That was when,
but no, nothing.
that was after Ms. Hogue confronted you on the fact that we found out about the violation, and then you admitted to it. Isn't that correct?
I don't know, Madam Chair, I who care.
Just to make sure I have all the pages
That's
for this.
okay. Take your time. I mean, you need to represent your clients.
And I'd like to have this marked as exhibit number 2, or should I pick up where we left off at the last hearing?
I'm not worried about the last hearing, okay? So,
It's a new
we don't
area.
know anything about the last hearing. We didn't read the transcript. We weren't here, so
Okay.
do whatever you've got to do for your clients, okay?
And for the record, I'm here as an advocate, not as an attorney.
Okay,
Okay, so may I show this to Mr. Kaminsky?
yes, and make sure that, yeah, we get this recorded.
Okay. Okay, and Mr. Kandinsky, can you pass that on to your client, please? Mr. Singh, can you review that document, please, and tell me if that refreshes your memory about your involvement with New Punjab LLC?
I don't know who Punjab, New Punjab, New Punjab, New Punjab, my wife name, liquor store, this LLC.
Okay, and the corporate, and it's an incorporated company, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and you are listed as one of the persons that are in the corporation, correct?
which name?
Jaswinder Singh?
You're talking about two separate things. So you
This
got articles
two-
transfer
yeah,
for a
two-
corporation, and
two
you're talking about
separate
an
thing. Why
LLC.
you told me all
Oh,
multi-
but one person at a time, because he's going to stop us and he's got to do the transcript. So
Okay, I need an interpreter, please, my cousin brother,
you got an attorney.
okay.
Let him deal with it, and then if he needs someone else to testify, he'll bring him up. This is not going to be a circus show.
Yeah, that's what, these are the copies of that, just in case you guys need to look at them better.
My objection is that this document that was given to me refers to 6510 Hartford, Inc.
Inc.
You're asking questions about New Punjab LLC, correct?
You're asking me or you're asking
what I'm
the
asking now.
attorney?
Yes, I'm asking questions about New Punjab LLC, and also that is the property owner as well.
You can answer if you know the answer.
It's either yes or no. I mean, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. I don't know.
This one, my wife name.
You got that? You gotta say, do you know what this is or do you not know? It's just they're asking the question.
No.
All right, that's that answer.
Do you want this marked as an exhibit or?
Can I look at it again?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I would like to submit this in evidence
For the purpose of?
for the purpose of establishing that on the articles in front of you, Punjab LLC has Mr. Jaswinder Singh as one of the members of the corporation.
Mr.
Just 1
Kadensky,
second, I'll give you.
take a peek.
No, no, no. He,
Well, object, because that's not what it says. It says that New Punjab is signed by
the granted.
Lakhwinder Kaur, not him. He's signing individually, so it does not have him as an LLC. That's my objection.
If I could note, it says in the very beginning, in terms of the articles of transfer, sale, a New Punjab LLC, a Maryland Limited Corporation, and these people.
Individually, it says, correct? Not members of an LLC.
It does.
Okay, that's my objection.
There's a liquor license for New Punjab LLC, isn't that right? Mr. Singh?
Yes, ma'am?
And that's in your wife's name, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in your application, I'm sorry, in your interview sheet for the liquor board, you were asked your spouse's name. Isn't that correct?
Which one?
In the interview sheet, you were asked as an applicant to, if you were married, put down your spouse's name and date of birth and employment. Isn't that right?
Which appointment, which date of birth?
You want to show it to him? Maybe a little bit easier.
This is my wife's name.
Right.
Yeah.
It says not involved in the business, correct?
No.
All right. You stated in that application that your wife was a housewife. Isn't that correct?
She housewife.
You didn't state that she was an owner of a liquor license, did you?
She, I take care of my other friends. Sukhdev Singh, he partner too.
You were asked if your wife had any employment. She's the owner of a liquor license. Isn't that right?
Well, you haven't proved that yet. You're asking the question, right?
Correct.
She, my wife or my friend, he do partner. He take care my partner over there.
And you testified earlier that your wife has the liquor license for New Punjab, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, and then you filled out an application with the liquor board for this transfer. Isn't that correct?
Which one?
The one that you have to
Show me.
apply? I can show you. And in that application, you were asked if you had been found guilty of any violation of any alcohol beverage laws. Isn't that correct?
I told you one violation. I told you one time.
In the application that you submitted in order to get this particular liquor license, there was a box to check as to whether or not you had been found in violation of alcoholic beverage laws. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And you checked no, didn't you?
But I told you right now, he already,
Well, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
and we've since corrected that, and it's in the liquor board file where it was an error, and that was sent to the board to amend those particular Is that correct, Madam Secretary?
He submitted
Yeah.
this yesterday.
Well, Mr. Konitzky, you're going to get an opportunity to redirect based on the cross. So, I mean, if you need to clarify something, that's your opportunity. So,
Okay, so this is what you received?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, at this point, this has not been corrected. This is the application that was submitted as true under oath at the time you applied for the license. Isn't that correct, Mr. Singh?
It's not correct. I object.
basis of the
Basis
objection.
was that I met with the board yesterday, and I gave them the information. They took it as an amended to the application.
May I show Mr. Kadinsky what Ms. Hedgepath just showed me?
I know it
Sorry,
is.
Ms.
It's-
It's a letter, same letter, yeah.
There's no application with it. It's just a letter saying that they want to make corrections. So it's not corrected at this point. Thank you.
Go ahead, Michelle. Were you going to say something?
Well, just to say that we do accept letters of submissions for corrections and applications for issues, but we did submit, it was provided to our office and stamped in yesterday. So just to note that on the record.
Okay, and the letter doesn't specifically say what needs to be corrected, does it?
Well, reading the letter, it says that he does say that in the, and I'm going to the third sentence, that I also will correct the fact that Mr. Singh had a liquor license in Baltimore City at 1506 South Caton Avenue, and that he had a minor violation for serving someone underage, which he did not serve as the individual. It was served by someone else who worked for him, but he took responsibility and paid $500 fine. Other than that, there are no other charges before the liquor board. So that's taking directly from the letter.
Okay. But when you first submitted the application, you said that you didn't have a license anywhere else, correct?
So stipulated.
And in the application, you stated that you were going to sell snacks as part of your tavern business, is that right?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Singh, you reviewed the application before you signed it initially, didn't you?
Which application?
The application for the alcoholic beverage license?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, and you wanted to make sure that it was correct?
Yes.
And instead you signed something that, well, which one?
Well, to be honest, I think that's a legal conclusion and not a question, but,
Which is why I withdrew it.
okay.
Now, Mr. Singh, you are receiving a benefit from the license at at New Punjab LLC.
I'm going to object. Basis.
His wife is involved in the business. He
We have-
is,
Since the Constitution allowed women to vote, they've certainly been femme sols since then. They can own business.
right, and he actually was in the individual in the Articles of Incorporation.
Let me ask you a question. What relevance does that have to this application for transfer? That he gets money, he might get money from other sources that would have absolutely no relevance to the issue of this transfer. So what is the relevance of your question to the issue of this transfer or not?
Well, one of the questions is, in the application is he getting a benefit from any other license?
Okay. Why don't you ask him that?
And you're getting a benefit from New Punjab LLC, correct?
You're asking that, or you're asking,
How
are
many
you?
times you told me? I told you already. My wife name benefit. She benefit.
So what is your answer, yes or no? No.
No.
It's, your wife gets the benefit.
Yes.
Okay. Next question.
You don't have a business plan for 1542.
I
Light
told
Street.
you, not extra, only same Jewish tavern, that's it. Okay? You told me music, I don't need music. You told poker machine, I don't need poker machine. Okay? But I told you 50% food, I told you some food. Not agree 50%. Okay, that's it. I same,
You haven't been able to tell us what type of food that you're going to be giving.
what,
You're selling.
chicken tender, chicken wings, fries, deep fry.
Okay, when we met in May, your statement was that you were going to have some food. You didn't say what type of food. Is that correct?
I told you some food, but I don't make sure which kind of food.
And then at our meeting in June,
I make it Indian food you eat.
at our meeting in June, you said you might be selling crabs.
I don't know. You like people, I go open store. You like crabs, I make crab over there. You like crabs?
And then the other night, you told us that you were going to serve bar food.
Oh my God.
And
Are you
Isn't that correct?
testifying or are you asking a question?
I'm asking, isn't that correct?
Just asking, did you tell them the other night that you were going to serve some bar food?
Okay, I give you bar food. That's okay.
That's not the answer to the question.
Yes.
Now, when you submitted your application, you submitted a map for the second floor as well.
In second floor, I think it's apartment, not huge.
But in the application you submitted, you provided a diagram that had seating on the second
I
floor.
told you last time.
Is that
I
correct?
told you now, I only use main floor, upstairs, no bar.
And when you submitted your application, you submitted a document that had a map that showed seating on the the second floor. Isn't that correct? Mr. Singh,
Yes, ma'am?
is that correct?
You want to show it to them, or maybe easier?
Well, what's the necessity? I mean, he's already
Said he's not
testified
gonna use
under
the
oath
second-
that he's not going to use the second floor. I mean, what is the purpose? of the-
trying.
Yeah, I used only
No,
second
that-
floor.
I don't need to know that, okay? The amendment has been made by your counsel that there won't be any live entertainment, and there won't be any use of the second floor. Is that correct, Mr. Koninsky?
That's correct.
Correct.
Okay, so we've got that out of the way. So let's move on.
No, he made it on the record before. He made the record on the 16th. He wasn't on the previous one. Yeah, the old decision only.
Mr. Singh,
Yes, ma'am.
when you met with us and when you filled out your application for the liquor license,
Mhm.
you had told us that Mr. Butler had a 0% interest in the business. Is that correct?
Yes.
And now today you're saying it's a 1% interest.
It was on advice of counsel and pursuant to the board, we gave him 1% interest. That's correct.
And withdrawn. Based on your testimony today, are you making changes to the existing floor plan?
Well, object, we're going to withdraw the second floor from the license if approved by the board.
So the answer
Yes.
for your client, okay.
Yes. Okay.
That's okay, take your time.
I don't have any further cross-examination for Mr.
Okay.
Singh.
Mr. Kudensky, redirect in light of the questions from counsel.
All right, in response to the question, you had me submit this letter amending the application, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's the letter of September 9th, it's in the file.
It's in the file.
All right.
We have it. Okay.
And along with that, I have no further questions at this time. Our
Well-
case subject to rebuttal.
I do have one follow-up question. if I
Okay,
may.
go ahead.
Okay. The letter was submitted on September 9th after you saw the most recent petition at the Neighborhood Association meeting on September 8th, isn't that correct?
It's not correct. I submitted the letter on September 9th. I never saw your petition.
Mr. Kandinsky, you sent your partner Abe to the meeting, and Abe went through it?
It's not my partner. I don't know where you're getting bad information in your affidavits, and you're making assertions here are absolutely not correct.
So you sent Abe to represent your clients at our meeting?
You're talking about Mr. Abraham Hurdle, for the
Yes.
record.
Yes.
He went along with the applicants, correct?
Correct.
And he's not a partner of mine.
And you asked him to go because you couldn't attend the meeting?
I asked him to go. I didn't particularly tell him why.
And he brought back a copy of the petition from the Neighborhood Association?
Did not. Not to me.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Okay.
I have some rebuttal possibly testimony.
Go ahead.
Not now. I have to wait till they put their case on.
Well, she said she was finished. Are you?
I'm finished with this witness, yes.
Okay.
I mean, if I witness this time, I'll have people subject to rebuttal.
Okay.
If it depends what comes out in the case.
All right. Put on your next witness then.
Okay, I would like to call Mr. Murphy.
Sure. Now, he's already been sworn in, so just step up, make sure that you can be heard.
Yes, sir, just 1 minute. So,
You can,
I'll move this one down. You take this one. Whoops.
Okay.
Well,
it'll reach. Go ahead.
so, Michael Murphy, President, South Baltimore Neighborhood Association. So, I'm just,
Step up to the mic. Thank you.
so, we started to meet with Mr. Singh in April to go over his plans on the transfer. This is a very common process for our neighborhood association. We have approximately 15 liquor licenses in our neighborhood association. As you know, Cross Street is a very busy area with licenses. We're no means underserviced. We're very supportive of the operations in the area, and we are able to usually work through and reach amenable agreements with the licensees in the area. The current licensee, we have a agreement with him at another property that he owns. We also had, good working relationship with the current seller of the property, and we were proceeding down the same path with the applicant for 1542 Light Street. When the discrepancies that we're going over now came to light, it really became difficult to work through and reach a point where we felt comfortable reaching an agreement with this licensee and supporting this application.
Did I hear you say that you worked with this applicant at another location?
No, so Drew Dunlap is partners with the property owner. They previously operated 2 iterations ago a property at that location. So we currently have relationships with them for their property on Charles Street. Mark, who owned Langerman's, which is selling the property, I guess currently has control of the license and brought forth this deal. We had a good working relationship with him. We continue to maintain good working relationships with many other businesses within the community. You heard a hardship extension appeal for Ido Hour just a few minutes ago. That property had a GoFundMe campaign, and the neighborhood, not the associations themselves, but the neighborhood, helped them raise $45,000 to reopen their property. You know, this is not we do not want a property to open at this location. This is a situation where at each and every turn where we've tried to reach an understanding and establish a relationship and a partnership where we can try to avoid and enter into a situation where we don't have conflicts and an understanding of how, you know, a business and property owners in close proximity to one another can have a good working relationship. You know, we've failed to get things started. You know, we met in April, we had an agreement, we did not have any of the type, we had just a standard MOU that did not talk about, you know, any requirements for food. We asked them to, you know, surrender not to expand to the second floor because they are located, you know, a block away from a elementary school, you know, again, primarily a residential district. It's B2, but it's R8 on each block beside it. And the food stipulation came into play once we did some additional research on our own between the April meeting and our follow-up hearing in May to meet with our full general membership and have the membership approve an MOU with the business. You know, at that point, Mr. Singh said he would not accept that, right? We voted on MOU with that addition added to it, and our membership turned it down because we were not in a position where we felt like we could establish a working relationship.
But, Mr. Murphy, let me ask you a question. You are aware that the request for this type of license, the law doesn't require him to have 50%.
Yes, sir, I am well aware.
You know that,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So he doesn't,
No,
technically, he doesn't have to agree to that.
yes.
Okay.
No, I agree.
So here's, and I know I might be speaking out of turn, and I don't mean to speak for the other commissioners, and they can speak for themselves, but this is what is problematic to me, okay? If we say he gets the transfer, then it comes into the community, and the community's not happy. If we say he doesn't get the transfer, then potentially you have a derelict building, potentially, that is vacant and lowers the property values and doesn't help the community. So in either case, it's a problem, right? We can agree on that, right?
Yes. Derelict properties are a problem.
Right. So my question to you and to Mr. Kadensky is there no middle ground on this? I mean, I'm not.
I asked for, you know, when you granted the reconsideration, I had correspondence and asked to set something up so we could meet with Mr. Singh again. You know, the hearing or the meeting that we had on Tuesday night with him really sounded like the first part of this hearing, where it was just back and forth and about particular items. You know, historically, when business operators come into the neighborhood and they're talking about opening a restaurant, they can tell you what they want to do. They can tell you about a plan. They have a vision for what they want to do. And I'm not getting any of that. So you want bar food? I'll sell you bar food. I want crabs? I'll sell you crabs. That's what every entrepreneur should do. But I think before you go into an establishment and you're granted a liquor license, I think you should have a bit more than that. If you wanted to have a knitting needle shop, have at it. I mean, the standard is different because there's a liquor license.
Okay, but the law, we're just talking about the law,
Mhm.
okay? You have an attorney there, his attorney there. The law doesn't mandate to us as commissioners that he has to have any particular plan for this establishment.
No.
Okay? He doesn't. Okay, so we can agree on that much. He has agreed to eliminate the second floor and eliminate the live entertainment. And all I'm trying to do is, before we get to the end, because I don't know how the other two commissioners are going to vote, and I haven't heard the rest of the information. All I'm asking you is there no potential for a middle ground at this point, or do we just continue with the hearing and let the chips fall where they may?
I think unfortunately we're in a win-lose situation. I don't like being in this position either as a, but in addition to, my job as an association president is try to,
I understand
find
that. I'm giving you the opportunity to go in the hallway with Mr. Singh and your lawyer and Mr. Kadensky and try and figure something out. If we can't, we can't.
And I would likely do that if it wasn't for the number of individuals who had signed a petition in protest of this transfer.
Okay.
And, and those residents.
Fair enough.
I feel it would be a betrayal of their
Fair enough.
efforts.
What's their major concern?
Is, in each step, there's been, again, inaccurate information when we ask these questions, and try to move forward, we're not able to work through these things. I am confident, right, that another business will open there. South Baltimore is not lacking for development at this point right now. Cave Valley is blowing the place up. Under Armour just bought tons of things. Saginaw's going there. We are very fortunate in our neighborhood. We've done a lot to improve South Baltimore, and I would love to have a great business there. I'd love to have had a different relationship with this applicant, but we didn't get there. We've tried.
Okay. Is that all? Mr. Murphy? I'm sorry. No. Is,
Murphy, can you address, you made a point at the meeting in terms of the cooperation, ability to deal with documents for MOU and...
Yes. So as I pointed out on Tuesday night when we met with the guys, an MOU is a more complicated document that governs, how the neighborhood and the licensee are going to, get along, and some of the things that might be possible source of conflict. And the liquor license application is a fairly straightforward process that should be able to be completed correctly by the first time. And again, we've had, repeated issues with that documentation and communication. So it's really, again, that's part of the problem with getting into a situation to, have a relationship with a licensee where, each and every step where you've tried to, establish a relationship that needs to have a measure of trust, that trust has been, compromised.
but just Article 2B doesn't require an MOU.
I understand that.
Okay.
And I don't want the food piece to be a red herring. The food piece, right, was not part of the original conversation.
Okay.
That was something that, in an effort to win support from our membership, that our Liquor Advisory Committee added in an attempt to get them to agree to offer a MOU to the applicant.
I understand.
And they still did not want to, even with that, restriction that he's not obligated to have.
Fair enough. All right.
No, I think
Commissioner, I think Mr. Trotter has a question.
To Mr. Kadinsky, why did you come in on the 9th with a reconsideration of the application? Not reconsideration, a change to the application.
Correction, because we were making corrections, and we found that there were areas that were originally discussed the first time. Now in my rebuttal, I'll submit documents indicating where they claimed that Mr. Singh owned Penguins and he owned the place in Colonial. We got certified copies from the Baltimore County Liquor Board indicating that that was not correct, and it was put in affidavits, which I thought under oath is not the way to go. And after the board, not maybe necessarily this board, but other boards, had agreed that in hundreds of licenses, they had a 0% ownership for the city resident, that it would be more prudent to have a 1%. We went ahead and did the 1%. Also, I thought it was an explanation with regard to what happened on Caton Avenue regarding, I think you saw Mr. Singh has sometimes the ability to present himself, and when they went through and found out there was that violation, serving minors, we felt it was, to go ahead and do it. It was a minor violation, paid the fine, and it was over.
But that was not on his original application.
It was not, and it says it on the documentation we submitted.
Cross with Mr. Murphy.
Let me ask you a question, is that, do you feel that any business that comes into there has to reach an agreement with you?
They're not required to.
Okay, fine.
It's good
So-
business to avoid conflict,
But you say it's good business.
unless your business is conflict.
Pizza John's, I come in, you think I have to talk to you?
You don't have to.
Okay, it's fine. So it's not a requirement they sit down, and your group doesn't represent everybody in that area.
We are the recognized neighborhood association by the city for that
That's not
geographic
answering
area.
my question, though.
Do I not represent everyone? Anyone who cares to be a member is represented by my group. Not everyone on this petition is a member of my group. Some of them have been on the neighborhood
How many members
associations.
belong to your group?
I don't have that number off the top of my head.
50, 100?
I think between those two, yes.
And that's for that whole area?
Yes.
Okay. And you submitted, you're talking about an MOU you submitted that was dated in June, right? Let me just show it to you.
Okay.
That's the MOU you gave to Mr. Singh, is that correct?
I'm sure I would defer to my liquor council chair.
It's written on
That's awesome.
your,
Yeah. So I allow my chair to negotiate these things. Once they've finished, right, then I review and sign them.
that MOU.
And after it's approved by my membership.
You submit it before you get it approved by your membership?
I submit it to who? We send it, it is a legal document, right? It gets exchanged numerous times between both parties, and revisions are made.
And that MOU specifically says that you'll provide and sell 50% food.
And this,
Right.
this one, yes, it does.
Do you have another one?
There are several different versions of this,
No,
yes.
But do you have another one that has to do with Mr. Singh?
The answer is yes.
This was the most recent one, though. There is no other one.
Is this,
That was draft.
Can't,
sorry.
you can testify, but just not right now, okay? Sorry.
On your petition, who got the people to sign this petition?
I distributed it to our email list, and various residents took it upon themselves to go door to door and collect this information.
This document that people sign indicates that Mr. Singh was found guilty of past of having poker machines without permits, open containers, Maiden Choice Lane that he owned, correct?
To which item are you referring to? So
Second item.
so I have a revised copy of that.
So you have more than one that you submit to the neighborhood.
I have two that I've submitted to the neighborhood.
Can I see the second?
Certainly.
Doesn't this also mention 1506 Caton Avenue and Baltimore County Maiden Choice Lane?
I'll defer to my counsel.
Well, you submitted this out. Where did you get the wording for this? That's all I'm trying to find out. Who gave you the wording?
My counsel.
Am I going to be able to call counsel? I'll call counsel to testify. I mean,
Well, I'm not counsel.
No.
I have no further questions, this witness.
Okay. Redirect.
I don't have any redirect.
Okay. Next witness.
I would, at this time, call Councilman Costello.
Have you been sworn in yet?
I have not,
Right.
Mr. Chairman.
Let's have him sworn in, please. Even though he's a councilman, I respect him, but he's got to be sworn in.
Thank
Do
you.
you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Eric T. Costello, Baltimore City Council, 11th District, for the record. I'm not, first let me say that I was at the community meeting that has been referenced on Tuesday evening. That's number one. Second, let me say that I did submit a letter of opposition in reference to this back in May or June, plus or minus that time frame. I'm not going to comment on whether or not a BD7 or a D license should be subject to a 50-50 food requirement, other than to say that I don't believe that that's a requirement and it's not in the law. That being said, my feeling, and I do, as Mr. Kaninsky knows, represent everyone who's on that petition as their elected official. My feeling is that this licensee is problematic for the neighborhood and has demonstrated that time and time again in the interactions that they've had with the community. When I was reached out, I spoke with Mr. Murphy, who's the president of the Community Association, and part of the reason that this hearing was postponed until today is because of communications that I had with both Mr. Murphy and Mr. Kadinsky, and asking them to try and get a deal worked out. I believe that everyone is here in the interest of trying to get a deal done, and would definitely agree with Mr. Murphy's assertion that at this point, I don't see a deal being possible for the community and the people who've signed that protest, and want to make it clear that I am opposed to this transfer and with the community on this one. I would also add one thing that I don't normally get involved in liquor license issues. My belief is this is a state issue and not a city issue. So it's very rare that you will see me here. And I hope that's indicative of how strongly I feel about this specific instance.
Well, let me just answer very briefly. Yes, you keep telling the board that you feel they have to make a deal with the community. It's just a community group, is that correct?
That address, 1542 Light Street, I believe has 4 community associations in the Planning Department's Community Association directory, which claim that address. One is South Baltimore Neighborhood Association. One is Area 30 Parking / Federal Hill West, which is an association that really only deals with parking. One is SOFA, or South of Ford Avenue. That association really doesn't operate and was just intended to address specific issues related to development. And then the 4th association is the Southern District Police Community Relations Council, which is only concerned with crime.
So there are more than one community group. When you say the community, this is a community group that represents, like he indicated, between 50 and 100 people to his estimate.
That's the number of paid members. I can tell you that, and it may not be germane to this, but their Facebook group has 2,400 people. There are people who are represented by that community association that can't make it to a community meeting, don't want to be bothered with it, don't want to be involved in what they perceive as potential drama, or don't get home before 7 p.m. on the second Tuesday of the month and just can't make it there.
I'm on a lot of Facebooks. I don't really want to be on it. Somebody put me on there, I can't get off. Let me ask you this question. When the petition that was signed, did you read the petition that they were circulating?
I briefly glanced at the language in the body of the petition on Tuesday evening for the first time.
About lying about maiden choice, about lying about poker machines?
Yeah, I did read that.
If that was untrue, you think it would sway somebody to sign this petition?
I don't think it's appropriate for me to answer that. I think that's up to the commissioners. But I will say that, if I may, Mr. Chairman, that there was a complete and utter lack of any type of cohesive business plan presented on Tuesday evening. And that was quite disappointing because I think the community, and I know that you had, and this isn't, I don't view this personally as on you, but I think there was a desire to try and get a deal done. And, you know, the utter lack of a business plan that I heard on Tuesday night was certainly not in the spirit of getting a deal done.
How many of the places that have liquor licenses have business plans as far as you know?
So, having dealt with these issues extensively previously as president of the Federal Hill Business Association, or Federal Hill Neighborhood Association, I don't recall an establishment coming in front of our community association that didn't have some type of business plan. You know, seeing Sean and Drew here from Banditos is just one of dozens of establishments that have come through with a business plan.
You're saying to me, if I put my money up $100,000, I'm buying a business, is it my risk with my business plan?
That's not for me to judge.
Okay. And do you have business plans from other businesses, pizza places, shoe stores?
I think the key difference here is a liquor license is a privilege and not a right. Yes, there are permits that are required at both the city and the state level for a pizza place or a shoe repair shop. But I think that, again, I may be wading into uncharted territory here, but I think Article 2B is very specific as to the fact that a liquor license is a privilege, not a right.
Driver's license, same way.
Yes, sir.
All right, no further questions.
No?
So much.
Thank you, Councilman. Next witness. Now, I know this lady has been sworn in already. she stood up, so.
Yes,
come
that's
to-
right. My name is Christina Pham Linhoff, and I live at 46 East Randall Street, about a block from the property in question. I just have a few comments I'd like to make. So why I'm here is I'm a professional working mother who's lived in the neighborhood.
Spell her name.
Spell your name.
You need-
Pham, Pham. It's the last name space Linhoff, Linhoff. First name is Christina with the CH. And I live at 46 East Randall Street. It's about a block from the location in question.
Thank you.
So I'm a property owner, and I've lived in the neighborhood for about 10 years. I have 2 children under 10. Just started a Girl Scout troop in February, and to walk to where our Girl Scout troop meets, we go right past the property in question, not to mention that Thomas Johnson Elementary is just about a block away. I'm here because I believe in our community. We want responsible neighbors who help make our neighborhood livable. I moved here because we love the restaurants and the bars. And I'm concerned that Mr. Singh does not live in the city, and the other applicant has his name on the application but has very little interest in the community and the business. Whatever is true or not, that tells me that he won't be a stakeholder in the neighborhood. Langerman's was a great neighbor, and we welcome them, and I hope for a restaurant or bar with a vision for fitting into our up-and-coming neighborhood, not one with a questionable violation record and possible dishonesty. So please deny this liquor license transfer for the sake of me and my family and the many other families who are not able to be represented here today.
Any
Thank you.
direct? No, hold on.
I don't have any direct.
Ross?
How many times were you in Langerman's?
A lot. Mark was very kind, and I know him quite well.
There, you had somebody to talk to when he was there, right?
Excuse
One of
me?
the owners was there, you talked to him.
I talk to Mark almost daily,
He
yes.
doesn't live there.
Mark was, he was great. He was a great,
He doesn't live there. He doesn't live on Light Street.
he had a
Does he
commitment
live
and an
there? That's the
understanding.
only question.
No,
He doesn't. Okay,
he doesn't live there, no.
So your business doesn't require you to live there. Besides, you have an interest in the place.
Mhm.
So Mr. Singh was there every day, you'd be able to talk to him every day, correct?
Sure,
I have no further questions.
thanks.
Next witness.
Ms. Hope?
She's been sworn in. Just give your name for the record and make sure you spell it for the reporter, please.
Adia Hoag, Adia, last name Hoag. I live at 19 East Randall Street.
Thank you.
And Ms. Hoag, what can you tell the commissioners about negotiations and finding information out with Mr. Singh and his partners?
As the chair of the Liquor Advisory Committee for SBNA, as I have been for the last 3 years, I've been primarily the first point of contact for all the negotiations. Mike was my co-chair until he became the president. Negotiations were going really well. We were communicating via email, we were communicating in person. He came out to our liquor advisory meeting. We meet every third Tuesday of the month, except for August and December. And we sometimes meet alternatively if like other things can't be arranged or if schedules, can't be, need to be accommodated. In any case, Mr. Singh did come out along with his associate, Mr. Gulati, and I apologize if I butchered your name, I'm trying to get it right, along with a couple other associates, and Mark Lasser, who was the proprietor at Langerman's, to help facilitate the conversation and the negotiations. They answered all our questions. Our committee, about 8 months ago now, maybe actually 10 months ago now, started meeting, SBNA LAC, along with FHNA's LAC committee, their liquor alcohol committee, started meeting together because we're going to each other's committee meetings anyway, and we have a lot of overlap on Cross Street. So we have about 15 committee members that meet monthly. They answered all our questions. We have very dedicated committee members. Unfortunately, they didn't answer our questions truthfully, which we discovered later. All the information that was in the affidavit, all the information that was provided by Mr. Singh and his associates. And I have it in an email that he sent directly to me at my liquor advisory at mysobo.org. So all that information came from them.
Questions?
And who else received that email?
The email in question on June 1st, 2015, it came from Vinay Gulati. It was CC'd to Jaswinder Singh, Mr. Mel Kondensky, and of course, Vinay, another person named Vinay with no last name attached to the email address was also CC'd on that email.
And did you hear from Mr. Kondensky after that email was sent?
No, actually, I actually saw Mel right before another hearing I was here for, and discussed the fact that they hadn't reached out to me because I saw the posting about the transfer. And he said he meant to reach out and he just didn't realize that, I was the chair. I was like, I've been the chair for years. I sent him an email to remind him. I still didn't hear from him. He was CC'd on this email, still didn't hear from Mel. So I never did hear from Mel, actually.
And did you hear from Mr. Jaswinger about the content of that email after it was sent?
No, I did not. No corrections were made. Everyone was CC'd. No one ever corrected the information that was contained therein.
And is this the email that you're discussing?
Yes.
Okay. And can we pass that to Mr. Kondensky? And we'd like to move that in.
That would be
I think it's 3.
3.
So I'd just like to point out that I was a public school history teacher for years. Research is kind of my thing. I also am a professional union rep for the Baltimore Teachers Union. I take pride in the fact that I don't disseminate incorrect information. I take information that people provide, to me, and I take it at face, I make sure to investigate that information. I actually looked into the records that are, at the BLC. Michelle knows me quite well. I email her all the time to check and verify records and facts. So I take it personally when people say that I'm not representing information correctly that they provide me.
Taking you back to the Community Association meeting on June 8th, 2015, can you describe for the commissioners what happened in the interaction that you had with Mr. Singh?
Let's see, that was the second to last meeting before our adjournment for the summer. I do recall that Mark really tried to help us come to an agreement with an MOU. I tried really hard to find some common ground that our community could reach with Mr. Singh and company. We asked to meet Mr. Butler. We hadn't met him previously, so we were sort of surprised that he was the liquor licensee since he didn't come to the LAC meeting. We like to meet all the people involved in the business. That's something that, we appreciate and we ask for. So he did bring, he did introduce us to Andre Butler. Mark was sort of acting as a translator as well as sort of trying to make the transfer happen. They kept denying that the things they provided to us were correct, and I was hoping that they would just be like, okay, these things happened, let's move on, and we could rebuild some sort of trust from there and move on. But even like Tuesday night, instead of just apologizing and saying, hey, we're sorry, we were incorrect, we didn't mean to misrepresent ourselves, and let's move on and establish and rebuild our, this foundation of trust again. Instead, they just keep being defensive and keep lying. And our neighborhood association, again, for the second time, voted down the MOU because instead of coming with a business plan, instead of apologizing for misrepresenting themselves, they just got really defensive Tuesday night, the same as they did in June, which is why the MOU has never, this is like the first time that twice in a row an MOU hasn't passed with our neighborhood association.
And when you talk about misrepresentations and lying, what specifically are you talking about that night?
Specifically, they were misrepresenting themselves about not having any violations with liquor laws. They misrepresented having a business plan. Their business plans changed 4 different times now. I can't even keep track. First, they said they weren't going to use the second floor. Then they said they were going to use the second floor. Now they're saying they're not going to use the second floor. They say, oh, this business isn't ours, and oh, this business is ours. It's actually quite a bit to keep track of, but I've been attempting to keep track of it. I wholeheartedly believe that in the law where it says it's a privilege to have a liquor license, it really is a privilege to have a liquor license in our community. We take pride in our businesses that we have. We have great relationships with our restaurants and business owners. We have a lot of fundraisers and community events at them, and we really want to see a business that's going to thrive in our community and not just exist. And we just don't see that here, unfortunately.
And Ms. Hogue, if you could, can you tell the commissioners where you live in relation to the property in question?
Less than a 2-minute walk. It's 2.5, I live 2.5 blocks and across the street, which it's on Randall and Light, and I'm on Randall and Patapsco.
And is there anything else you wish to share?
I just want to say that as the liquor committee chair, I love volunteering. This is what I've been doing. I've learned a lot doing this for 3 years. I take pride in trying to, help facilitate successful transfers and expansions and new businesses. And I like seeing things work. And I really wanted something to work in this location. This is down the street from me. I loved Langerman's, I loved the Reserve, I loved the Gastropub, which are all businesses that have been there since I've lived on Randall Street. I love my community, and I want to see something thrive there. This, unfortunately, just isn't it. Okay? Thanks so much.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
All right, on this MOU that I'm going to show you, who prepared this MOU?
I prepared this, well, let me take a look at it.
In June? Just look at the top, it says blank day of June 2015.
Yes, but there were 2 versions, so I'm trying to see which version this was.
Is this the latest version?
Again, I'm trying to see which version this is. There were 2 versions. This is the second version.
The latest version?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is the one that you submitted to Mr. Singh, correct?
Yes.
Submit this. Exhibit.
It's your exhibit?
Their exhibit, I'm going to talk about the exhibit they sent.
Okay.
You can make it a joint exhibit if they want.
Well, it's not hers. He
My
can't,
exhibit,
yeah,
Applicant's exhibit.
yeah.
Now, on that, on this MOU, it's a six-page MOU, is that correct? Well, 5 pages plus signatures.
It's 7.
7, but the other signature pages, I went.
Still 7.
Now, let me ask you, on this MOU, you do have a 50% food, is that correct?
Yes, that was added after the first MOU was shot down because people felt,
Just asking if it says it. I mean, I'm not
Yes.
asking you. Okay, yes. All right. And
in
you
the second version, yes.
You want them to give you sales and provide a POS to the SBN quarterly? You want them to give you your sales, correct?
Yes.
Okay?
It's in your file.
And
It's a sample, same one. Yeah, not different.
you said they won't promote Keno or poker machines, correct?
Yes.
No check cashing?
Yes.
You say keep the licensed premises to be closed doors after 11 a.m. What's already on 11 a.m.? You mean 11 p.m. Is that correct? That's a typo.
No, we actually, it meant,
11 a.m.?
The license said 11 a.m.
that came from the license and so did the next one, actually.
You know who William Hartlove is?
I don't, but that came from the license.
Okay. And did it also come from the license about not exceed 164 people?
That came from the fire permit?
And would it be fair to say that Mr. Singh agreed to everything except for the food percentage?
That,
Food?
that would not be correct.
Not correct. All right, now regarding, you said that you had to have somebody translate. Tell me why you had to have somebody translate.
I didn't say translate, I said facilitate.
Well, tell me what facilitate. You know the difference between like a bookmaker and a facilitator? They both do the same thing. They both take bets.
No.
Okay, they don't. Okay. What's a facilitator do?
Mark was trying to facilitate the transfer since he owned the business.
Okay. Did you ever refer to Mr. Singh as Singhi?
I might have on accident, yes. And that's because I knew someone growing up who had the same spelling, and that's how they pronounced it. It was just,
They asking if you referred to him as Singhi.
it was inadvertent.
No? I didn't ask that. Now, along with your petition, who did this petition?
Our advocate, our community advocate,
Who may be?
Marie Sennett.
Okay. And who provided the information on this petition?
Your client, actually.
Is that 1065 Main Choice Lane?
Yeah, that came from,
About having a violation?
the various liquor files and information provided by your client and your client's associates.
If I tell you that he was never a licensee on Main Choice Lane, would that surprise you?
It would, since that was provided by your client and
What
his
he gave-
associate.
Show me what he gave you.
The exhibit.
I was going to say,
The email exhibit?
Exhibit 5, I think it is, or maybe.
The one on the very top.
The email from June 8th.
And then I'll give this back to you guys. This is Exhibit 5.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Kaminsky, want to see that?
Yeah, Mel, do you want to see?
Mr. Kudensky.
That came from Mr. Singh.
As you can see,
That's Mr. Singh's name?
it came from his associate
Now, how do you know he's his associate?
because he came to the LAC meeting.
And he told you he was his associate?
That's how he was introduced, yes.
But this didn't come
His,
from
as
Mr.
his
Singh.
realtor. No, Mr. Singh was CC'd on it, as you were as well.
I'm asking you if it came from Mr. Singh. It's
No.
from Mr. Galati.
Correct.
Okay.
That's okay.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Next witness? Or do you
you
have
have
any
any?
redirect?
I don't have any redirect.
sorry.
Is there anything that you
Okay.
needed? Nope.
Mm-mm.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What would you consider a good business plan?
Oh, for me? At this point, any business plan. I've seen a various things from like 100-page documents that are bound.
What do you want?
Any
What
business.
does the community want in it?
We have seen, we've seen everything from menus to, actual 100-page documents. Everybody comes in with a different business plan, but everyone has a business plan and speaks to that business plan with authority and excitement and has like a clear vision for their business. We just saw absolutely none of that here. Absolutely zip. And not only did we see none of that, it literally changed each and every time we had a discussion with him.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So at this point, commissioners, it would be me.
Okay.
So we got the information from this email the day that we were having our neighborhood association meeting.
Just,
Is she going to be a witness?
well,
Yes.
That's what I'm going to clarify right now. You're testifying as a witness.
As a witness.
Not as a representative for the association.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Because that's going to open you up to cross-examination from Mr. Kudensky.
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand
All
that.
right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So we got this email. We got it the day that we had we got the information. I was the one who went and took the information and investigated further. We didn't have much time in terms of preparing for the initial hearing we had in this. And what I did was I went to the Baltimore City Liquor Board first because all the addresses that we were given said that they were Baltimore City properties. When I got to the Liquor Board, the only property that actually was in Baltimore City was the Maiden Choice Lane property. I reviewed the file, and when I reviewed the file, that was when I found the violation that was for serving an underaged person. That's when I found the inspector's investigation of the poker machines not being on a proper permit. That's when I found the allegation of the open containers. I also found that when Mr. Singh had submitted his application for renewal, he at different times had put down that his address was in Baltimore City. He did not put down that his address was in Dundalk when it was in Dundalk. He did not put down that it was in Elkridge when it was in Elkridge. At one point, it appeared from the documentation in the file on the 2014 application that the renewal might have been sent back to him because it's highlighted in yellow on the original for him to correct his address. Actually, I have even better copies if you want. Yep.
I have. We have.
Okay. I then was told that the other properties were in Baltimore County. I contacted the Baltimore County Liquor Board and inquired of them whether or not there had been any violations at the Maiden Choice, at the Caton, I'm backing up, I'm sorry. It's the Caton house that it was in Baltimore City, I apologize, and that's what the one where the application was that I reviewed in the file. I was told by the Baltimore County Liquor Board that there was no such license for 6510 Harper Road, that there was no Harper Road, and that they didn't have anything for liquor station. And I've been told by Baltimore City that it was a Baltimore County place. So we were not able to even investigate what had happened with this particular location that we were told belonged to Mr. Singh. We were concerned about that in and of itself because we had no ability to go back and try and determine what had happened. When I inquired about the Maiden Choice Lane property, I was informed that that also had a number of sites, that it was cited for violations, and that they had been cited in the past for serving intoxicated people, and that they had been found in violation for changing their interior design without permission. So it raised some concern because we had been told that there were no violations. They continued to deny that there were violations at the meeting in June, and it caused concern in terms of a trusting relationship where we could actually work with this particular owner. I then did draft the petition based upon the information that I had from both liquor boards, from Mr. Kandinsky's client, where Mr. Kandinsky did not contact us after we got that email to make any corrections, and Mr. Jaswinder did not contact us to make any corrections either. So we drafted the petition, and we went door to door to talk with people about what was going on in terms of this particular transfer. I also put together the affirmation for the other hearing because I was not able to take off from work, and in the actual affirmation is the details of when I talked to the liquor board in the county and what I saw when I went to the Baltimore City Liquor Board. I was very concerned about being told information that was basically a lie. I was very concerned that there was information that was provided to the liquor board that was a lie. I was not able on that date to review the transfer file because unfortunately your office couldn't find it. And learned later on at the hearing that there was also the problem of Mr. Singh submitting false information on his application. All this information was available to Mr. Kandinsky before the prior hearing. Mr. Kandinsky could have challenged that information at the prior hearing. He certainly had knowledge of this. He chose not to. Instead, he chose to have this hearing here today. As I was saying earlier, there was no inadvertence, there was no mistake, there was no fraud. This is a hearing that actually should not have been held under the standards for a reconsideration. I understand you're not calling it a reconsideration, but there is no reason for the hearing to be held at this point because this is all information that Mr. Kandinsky had within his purview that he could have brought forth.
Oh, would you like me to ask? These are, I think what you're looking at from Senate are, these are things in the Caton House file in regards to police reports and violation or reports from the inspectors that are both dated from 2000.
Isn't an inspector.
No, that's a police report that you're looking at.
Police report from
Mr. Jones, when he was
who's
Mr.
now working for the liquor board.
Yes, he was a vice detective at the time.
Detective, he's the one that wrote up the report
Right.
for the violation.
But this is in regards to Caton House, I believe,
Right.
instead of the existing location. But yes, that is a copy.
That's the one that Mr. Kadinsky's talking about, the $500 fine for
No.
underage drinking.
These are two. That might be the underage drinking one, or is that the regarding the
I don't know
poker
which one you're
machines?
looking at, I'm sorry.
It's the same location. The same location had the underage drinking,
And
the
the poker
poker
machine.
machines, and the.
But the poker machines were not. We didn't cite the violation for poker machines.
No, and I never said that they were cited. I said that that was that. Okay.
I'm sorry. So to clarify what I have as a copy of my file, which was submitted on June 18th as part of the June 18th file in regards to Ms. Sennett's her information, there was a copy of a police report that was done by Mr. Yes, this is when it was a when Sheldon Jones was a detective. He submitted a report.
But that's a police report, but there was an inspector's report.
There are two other inspector reports. Yes.
Right, they're different.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But the
Same
same.
package, but nobody explained that to us.
These were submitted previously, also at on the June 18th hearing in regards to the records at Caton House because of the answers.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Yeah, here you go. They're right
Trying to clarify the record, that's all.
These are cleaner copies. These are pictures.
I know,
Of-
I've seen those.
Yeah, these are pictures of our records. I do not have the Caton House record here at the office. I mean, here on site.
I also made copies again today that it might be clearer. If you want those.
Sure, I'll take a look.
Okay. That's one.
We can have these.
Yeah, those are actually
How
similarly.
much you can read
Those
these.
are better.
Yeah, they're similarly clearer.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, the one is a police
One's a
report.
police report.
One's a police report.
Here it is
Well,
right here.
we'll give it to you in a second.
This was submitted. These were submitted into evidence as part of the June 18th.
What's this?
Right, but she's resubmitting. She's talking about her particular thing.
Right. Well, I would incorporate all the exhibits from the prior hearing into this one.
Police report. Elizabeth? I give it to you.
Thank you. No problem. You can have it.
Oh, here's a copy of the police report.
Yes.
Oh, it's right there.
I think that's the second page of it.
Oh, is this the second page?
Yes, that's the second page.
Nice to. First, huh? Here, give this to Elizabeth. What's up? What I got?
Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
What's the status of the building right now?
It's empty right now. It's closed.
Closed.
In fact, it's been closed since August of 2014.
I don't know, that's good. You're testifying to that under oath?
That's when it was noted as being closed by the liquor inspectors.
That's part of this.
I'll just ask the question. Nothing.
Um, Well, considering I live at 10 West Randall Street, and I've eaten there also as Langerman's numerous times, and had been surprised to find it closed when it was closed, because we'd had no notice. It was around that time, and in fact, the inspectors, Ms. Martin actually was sent out to see what was going on, and submitted a report that it was closed on 8/17, and that she went back on 9/19/2014, and it wasn't operating, and it hasn't. And then there was another inspector that went out in March of 2015 and determined that it wasn't closed. It was closed as well. So the other. It says it was closed for business. Remarks closed for business. The date is March 3rd, 2015. The inspector did not put a time on, but it's been closed for over 180 days, actually.
Well, this is why I also asked Miss Joanne Martin to also attend, because I have a copy of her August 17, 2014, because this was her district, and she is here to testify. And I believe I've also asked the licensee to provide information in regards to the operations, because this licensee operated periodically, but I'm not going to testify for her. She has been sworn in if you'd like that testimony. Or would you like Ms. Sennett to finish? I don't know.
What I'm concerned about as a resident of the neighborhood, and also a property owner, as are many other property owners in the South Baltimore area, is making sure that we have a business that we can trust to operate safely, to deal with public accommodation and convenience, to make sure that it's not operated in a detrimental way to the neighborhood, to make sure that we have a working relationship so that we can continue to grow. What I'm concerned about is our inability to have that relationship. What I'm concerned about is the many times that Mr. Singh has not been truthful, both to the liquor board as well as to the neighborhood association, and I'm very concerned about how this particular facility is going to be operated. And I believe that's my testimony.
All right, I'm sorry. You're testifying as to facts that you put in your affidavit, is that correct?
Correct.
So that was an affirmation made under penalty of perjury, correct?
Correct.
All right, and you mentioned that he was cited at 1506 South Caton Avenue of having a poker machine, no permit. In fact, he was never cited for that. Is that correct?
There was an inspection report from the liquor board inspector citing that there was a problem with the poker machine.
It says it was cited, or it just was a report saying you needed a license?
It was report turned in, and from my definition, he was cited.
That's your definition.
That's my
Not your
definition.
But there's no citation in the liquor board folder that they were ever cited for not having a license for poker machines.
They were never held in violation. They were cited as being in without having a permit.
Can I read it to you? Can I have that? The poker. That's which one? One that has the poker machine.
Oh, here you go.
over here.
It's over there. It's over here.
You know, what was the inspector that did it? You remember? Inspector Fitzgerald, maybe?
Gerald.
Was it Fitzgerald? Okay.
Fitzgerald.
It says instructions given to the licensee. Poker machines need 2010 amusements, correct? Stock off the floor. And first exit something for ATM, correct?
Can I see it? Because I don't have it in front of me.
That was in the original file.
Yes, that's what it says.
It's just an instruction.
Mm-hmm. And the report was submitted, and therefore, I deem, it's an inspector report that was submitted to the liquor board, and I count that as a citation.
You count as a citation.
Correct.
But that's not what it says on it.
It's a report that was submitted to the liquor board that says that Mr. Singh was in violation of having poker machines without an updated permit.
Said he didn't have a permit. That didn't mean he was in violation. He just didn't have one. That's what it says, right?
Not having a permit is in violation of the law, Mr. Kandinsky.
He wasn't cited. It's over there.
The report cites him for that.
That's not it. All right, I'll let the report says what, can I have the one with
You looking for the inspection reports now?
the second one?
Okay.
Then you referred to, he was cited about letting people walk out with open containers, is that correct?
No, that's not correct. If you read my affidavit, that is not what it says. My affidavit specifically states in 2009, the liquor board inspector reported on the charge of 1506 South Caton Street for allowing patrons to leave with open containers.
And the report says inspector observed parking lot, front door. No one was seen with an open container.
That's what the report says. He went out to, and he filled a report. He followed up on a complaint, and he reported on it.
All right, and then you refer to 6510 Harper Road or some kind of station, correct? In your 6510 Harper Road liquor station.
Yes.
You were never able to verify A, whether there was a liquor station, or B, whether there was anything at 6510 Harper Road. Harper Road, correct?
I contacted both the Baltimore County Liquor Board and the Baltimore City Liquor Board, and both of them told me that there was no such animal that had a license.
And they didn't have a license. Then you referred to Main Choice Lane, Penguins.
Yes.
Grove, correct?
Yes.
And you informed them within the past year, the following charges were filed against the license. Makes no mention of Mr. Singh, is that correct?
It makes no mention of Mr. Singh. It was one of the addresses we were provided for that Mr. Singh was involved with in that email that has been submitted into evidence.
Did you call Mr. Moeller at the Baltimore County Liquor Board and ask him if Mr. Singh was involved?
No, I asked the liquor board, based on the information I had from Mr. Singh being involved, if there were violations.
If I told you he was never involved with regard to Penguins on Maiden Choice Lane, would that make any difference to you?
If you had contacted us to tell us that he wasn't involved, it would have, I'm answering your question. If you had contacted us to tell us he wasn't involved, that would have made a difference, but you did not. We were working from the information we had.
You put it in your affidavit. You're talking about people lying. You, under oath, you put it in your affidavit.
In my affidavit, I put down this address because the information we had from your client was that he was involved in it, yes.
Does it say that based on the information you got from the client? Doesn't say that, does it?
It says that I researched the 3 addresses provided by Mr. Singh. Yes, it does.
Secondly, you were inquired about Penguins, correct?
Pardon me?
I'm reading the last one, number 7.
Uh-huh. Yes.
All right. You made charges that within the past year against the license, but you didn't say who the licensee was, did you?
The paragraph number 3 makes it clear that these are the addresses that we were provided by Mr. Singh.
All right. Just submit at this time certified copies of the applications from Baltimore County. Indicate that Mr. Singh was never a licensee there and is not a licensee there. You took that same information and put it on your petition, is that correct?
Yes, because it was the information that your client had given us.
But you didn't never verify with Baltimore County whether it was correct or not?
I trusted your client to give me correct
No, wait a
information.
minute. Let me ask you. You called Baltimore County looking for Harper Road,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So you had the opportunity to talk to them. You never followed up on that, did you?
I did not, because your client had given us information that he
But the
was
question is
involved
you
with
never
it.
followed up on it.
I never followed up on it. I went with the information your client provided us.
On it.
Counselor,
Now, let me ask you about these addresses that Mr. Singh gave. He was never cited by the liquor board giving a false address, was he?
He provided false information in terms of an address. The liquor board never apparently decided that that was a violation. However, they could, under the liquor code, as a false statement.
So the answer is he never was cited. Correct.
Correct. But he did provide bad information.
But you put that all in your petition
Yes.
to the persons.
Yes, because it went to his veracity.
And some of those he had come down, the board noted, and he came down and corrected it. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct.
He never came down and corrected his address on the renewal applications for Caton Avenue.
There was one that was highlighted that apparently he was asked to, I don't know if he was asked to come down and correct it or it was mailed back. It seemed like it might have been folded. So there was one that he did change,
Okay.
but it was later changed after it was submitted.
Later change when?
It doesn't say.
Since I don't have the Caton House file in front of me, I believe that is the 2013 or 14 that you're looking at from my recollection
Right,
of
the
the file.
2014.
So then he was asked by staff to make the change, and it was made because that's why it usually is highlighted in regards.
And the license was issued.
Right.
And I always want to clarify, the police report that you have in front of you is the one that he admitted that he paid the $500 fine for, correct?
He admitted to the fine. Yes, he did, and he admitted to the violation.
It's not a different police.
No.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Are we finished with your side?
I believe I'd be repeating myself, and I don't think you want to do that.
Kudensky,
I'm
what
nothing further.
do you have? Then we'll hear you in close.
Actually, I would like to, if we're going to have Ms. Martin testify, I would like to have her testify. Is Ms. Martin
Well,
testifying?
okay, Miss Martin, come on up.
She testifying concerning the transfer?
No,
Okay. That's the only thing we're here for.
no. No, she's going to be testifying as to her visit to the establishment.
There's your
Come
report.
up here. Have her sworn in, please.
She's already been sworn.
Oh, she has,
Yes.
sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, we have in our records, Madam Secretary,
Yes, there's a copy.
items from,
An inspection report dated 8/17/14, done by Ms. Martin, and then a follow-up inspection subsequently in September. And what I'd like to ask Ms. Martin is to provide any information that she knows in regards to this licensee and in regards to her inspections in that area.
Okay. As I recall, this particular routine was done when Mark Lasker, I think, was transferring his LLC. I don't think this has anything to do with this particular application.
Okay, because there was a previous transfer in the file when the LLC was, but did you have any conversations?
That's why I have transfer still not complete.
Right. Did you have any other conversations with them in regards to their operation status during this particular period of time, even though that you found the location closed?
Yes, I was in contact with Mark Lasser through this process, only also because he also owns the Lagermans on Boston, and I do frequent there and do routines there. And I did ask about this particular, what was going on with this particular establishment, and he did assure me that he was open on not regularly, but he was open on different days during the 90-day period, only because he knew that he had to keep his license operational.
And
I did not catch him open on the days, as he referred to me. He really didn't have to serve food. He was open just for drinks for different days, and I can't recollect what days he told me.
questions? Questions? Yes, no, maybe so? Okay, thank you, Ms. Martin.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it, Mr. Kudensky. Let's wrap it up.
I don't know how many red herrings there are in this thing. I guess we're getting close to the Jewish holiday, so probably it's appropriate. But Mr. Singh, obviously, you can see by talking to him, he doesn't have the best command of the English language. However, this seems that this one group in the community seems to feel they're the be-all and the end-all regarding this transfer. It's a BD7. It's a valid license. He's met with them ad nauseum on this thing. He's agreed to almost everything that they had there except the 50% food. They went out of their way to file affidavits and petitions that were completely inaccurate. He never owned penguins, was never involved in penguins. All you had to do is what I did. You call, they send you it to the liquor board. Yeah, people put affidavits in it. That doesn't seem to be a lie. Okay, that was something that they did just to get the information. And Mr. Singh gives some information that's always a lie. I think in this case here, he's a licensee. He admitted he had an infraction in 2013. It wasn't a violation of the law. It was a violation of the rule and regulation of the board. He paid the fine. He was never cited for poker machines. He was never cited for letting people come out. Somebody had made an inquiry, and they went out there, and they told him, you know, this can't happen, and he wasn't cited for it. Other than the 4 years that he was there, he certainly was an operator. You know, going after his wife or things like that, I think it's ridiculous to go ahead and do that. Next thing you know, you're going to be asking all kind of questions. I think, you know, he's proved the case. He's proved that it's an existing location. He's given up the second floor. He's given up the live entertainment. You know, he's done all the things that, you know, they would do, except they want him to have some sort of business plan. Nobody knows. Nobody said what a business plan is. I'm a lawyer. I'm going to come in. You want to give me my license? You want a business plan from me? I want to make money. As long as I do it legally and I sell beer, you know, do I have to have a business plan? I sell one bottle of beer for $2. I make $1.33. How you know, how hard can it be? They want to nobody else gives them the business plan. 4 other groups, 4 other community groups are there. Only one is here, and they want to be the be-all and end-all. I think in this case here, he deserves, since he's a prior licensee that had one infraction in 4 years he was there, a BD7. He's met with them 3 times. Obviously, there's a problem with his language. They keep saying he's lied. You want to use that information, but yet when they go in their documents, they're not lies. They're under oath. Okay.
You will note in the package that there is a letter of opposition from Riverside Action Group, which is the neighborhood association that also shares Light Street. You will note in the packet there is opposition and support from the Federal Hill Neighborhood Association, and you should also note that Harbor Court has submitted a letter in opposition as well. Those are 4 neighborhood associations that are concerned. The concern that we have, as we've said time and time again, is the trust factor. We're trying to have a owner who we can trust. What we had was a person who, when we found violations, denied that he had any violations. A person who is willy-nilly in terms of what it is he wants to do with this location that is a block away from a school. We are concerned that this is not a matter of, I can't communicate, I'm confused. We're concerned that this is someone who is not going to be a good owner, that this person is not going to take care of his business in the way that it should be in the community. And that is why, even with the MOU, we were concerned and chose to not go forward on that MOU.
Just in closing real quickly, for finally, if you read the letters in opposition, they're based on facts that are not correct about drugs in the area and so forth. If somebody gives them information, nobody wants drugs, nobody wants prostitution, nobody wants illegal activity. You told them that what's going to happen. Yeah, sure, I don't want that. There's no indication that that took place. So I think that's all misinformation.
I read the letters. Questions from either the commissioners?
How many, was there any other bars or restaurants, liquor licenses that the associations have rejected to in this area?
Yes, in fact, it was another one of Mr. Kandinsky's clients. It was Razors that was located at 13 East Randall Street. We had problems with drugs and prostitution there. It was a continuing problem. Thankfully, the South Baltimore Market moved in, Sobo Market, which is owned by the owners of Sobo Cafe, and we have had a tremendous change around in the neighborhood in terms of not having the addicts, not having the prostitutes, not having the drug dealers hanging around anymore. That I can go on record as saying that that was the only other place that in the years I've been doing this, since 2004 with our neighborhood association, there was one other place that was Heath Street Pub that also we had the same problems as we did with Razors. So those two are the only two prior licensees we've had an issue with. I actually developed the first memorandum of understanding with the Community Law Center that we've been using for years and years and years. Our neighborhood association even signed an MOU with Crossbar, which other neighborhood associations were not willing to do. We have been very reasonable in the past. We have been able to work with people, and we have serious concerns.
In response to that question, since I had Razors was approved by the board. It was transferred to the applicant, who happened to also be of an Indian descent. In the case, he went through and he provided information. He put cameras. He had 24-hour loops for everybody there. They didn't have any problems when he was in there. There were all problems that were developed before. That's was the objection. When he went in, he cleaned the place up.
Actually, we protested the renewal of the license, and he was found in violation, and he was told to close for 2 weekends in June. That went up on appeal, but I believe the sale of the place ended up eradicating that. So he was found in violation.
But his license was renewed.
He was found in violation. His license was renewed.
Okay.
I want to have a better understanding as to the representations here that he didn't have any violations before on this application.
Well, when he filled it out, I mean, he wasn't thinking that he had it. He was thinking that one of his employees had, and if you look at it, one of his employees did it. But he admitted that he actually paid the fine, and as the law indicates, that he would still be responsible, and he did. So he said, and in 4 years, that was the only thing that had come up. And the Caton House it's about 5 times the size of this place.
But he was the licensee.
He was the licensee, and he owned up. But when he was thinking, he said, "I didn't serve it. It was he made it responsibly, and he paid the fine."
Right,
He didn't come in. He didn't contest it at all.
So the point is, he knew that he was a licensee, and he knew what the rules and regulations were.
Yeah, and he said that he took responsibility for it.
Ready to vote? No.
I have to think for a minute.
Mr. Trotter has to think for a second. The members are in mental deliberation.
I do have another question. Mr.
Kudensky,
Kudensky,
we have some more questions.
who is Mr. Gutali?
Galati?
Galati?
That's
Yeah.
the real estate agent.
Okay.
That's this gentleman.
Yep.
Right.
That's all. Yes. Did you have a question, too?
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Okay.
I'm trying to piece together.
This
a
is
couple.
Thursday, you know.
I know.
Okay.
We have a busy weekend.
Yeah,
Both of us.
yeah, we both have busy weekends,
Both
I
have
know.
busy weeks, I know. I gotta put together your docket for next week today.
Yeah, so anytime today. They're all sitting out there with bated breath.
My major problem is that it was only corrected yesterday. You know, and if a person's gonna give them in for reconsideration, we should have a reconsideration before the board and correct everything, and it's gotta be pristine. This isn't pristine at all. So my vote is no.
I agree. I find that there are too many inconsistencies here, and this is information that was known well in advance of this hearing. And I understand the point with the email. Maybe it's not sent by Mr. Singh, but
It's on the record.
It's on the record, and he had an opportunity to fix that in advance as well, to correct any inaccuracies, and that was not done. So I'm inclined to say no as well.
Well, that's two. May as well make it three. You got the decision, Mr. Kudensky.
Okay. Well, anytime 2 out of 3 ain't bad is what Mealiff says.
Mr. Previs?
We need to go back
that's
onto
what-
the agenda.
That's what you get for showing up late. See, you had to wait
Thank
for
you.
that whole
Denied.
hearing.
No, it's denied.
It's gonna be,
It'll be appealed, but
It's gonna be appealed.
that's denied.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you in person, Michael. Goodbye. I'm going to go back and read the item that was the new item.
Okay.
we don't have a break, no.
Yeah, I really. I hope this doesn't take as long. See, Pete should have just gone.
Which one is this?
This is Kipo Ramen.
Oh, this is Broadway.
Yes,
right?
this is Broadway. This is a new application.
Okay.
It is Amy Obiescu, Shiga
Now,
Hokiko,
you're going to give us a proper.
Jong Hee Han,
Yes, sir.
Kipo Ramen LLC. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Amy Obiescu, Shigo, Jong Hee Han, Kipo Ramen LLC. Trade name is Kipo Ramen. That's at 606 South Broadway, a Class B, beer, wine, and liquor application for a new Class B under Article 2B 6-201D 7, $500,000 in capital investment, and a restaurant fixtures and seating capacity of a minimum of 75 people. Mr.
Go.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicants. Before I begin, I submitted to the board by way of a cover letter dated September 8, 2015, some financial documentation as well as a menu. I had made extra copies just in the event that Bailey Hedgepath had not.
She always has things.
Thank you. I appreciate
You know,
that.
don't question her.
Just in case.
No, okay.
Okay.
There's
Now-
no try, only do.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
With me here today, to my immediate right, is Ms. Patricia Palumbo from Klein and Associates, the representative of the landlord. Mr. I'm going to torture your name, Shigehiko Akibisu, otherwise known as Jackie, who is the
Mr.
creator of
Previs,
this. Yes, sir.
I want to know who the applicant is,
Yes, sir.
what their experience is,
Yes, sir.
what they're a fit and a proper person,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Thank
We don't need to go through all these people. They all look like wonderful people.
Okay. I was
Okay.
just, these are the three applicants. This is the representative from the
Okay.
landlord. Thank you. Now, with regard to this application, this is at 606 South Broadway, which is on the west side of the North Shed of Broadway Market, a place that's very near and dear to my heart. The landlord has invested millions of dollars to do a total rehabilitation of this area.
This is very close to where Previs Brothers used to be at the end of the market and sell hot dogs.
This is exactly across
exactly
the
where it
side door from Previs Brothers.
Wonderful hot dog.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Not there anymore.
Not there anymore.
I remember.
This location, I believe, would be where Foster's used to be. Is that right, Ms. Palumbo?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But and it's
We didn't
most
swear her
recent-
in, so she-
okay. In any event, Jackie, as he's known for American purposes, he's born in Kobe, Japan. He was trained as a Kobe steak chef. He was brought here in the 80s by Benihana as a chef.
He doesn't have any knives with him, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Okay,
but
good.
he could use a knife.
Okay, I'm sure he could.
Black people could.
After being in the restaurant business and trying to raise small children while keeping the late hours of a restaurant business, he ended up going into the beauty supply business with Mr. Hahn, his other partner. This is his daughter here.
Wasn't selling him hair products, was he? You know, it's been a long day. It's been a long day, and, you know,
I
this is our
should've
last case. There's no one else here. Okay, sorry.
In any event, now that his kids are grown, he wants to go back to his first love, which is the restaurant business.
Okay.
However, instead of opening a steak place,
Mm-hmm.
he is very interested in a ramen type of restaurant.
Okay.
He has gone to Japan and investigated ramen restaurants. He's also gone to Los Angeles to see how they run ramen restaurants there. He's noted that in Japan, there's a lot more of a fishy taste than would that serve the American palate. So his menu is based upon what he's seen in Los Angeles. He intends to be a full-time operator along with his partner and his daughter. His daughter has bought a house on Ann Street, so they will be local into the neighborhood. They plan on running a very nice ramen
Which
restaurant.
one has the experience with the liquor and the alcohol?
Jackie, Mr.
Jackie,
Okadisi.
okay. And
Yes, sir.
to what extent?
How many years were you with restaurants?
No, we didn't have him sworn in.
Okay.
You want to swear him in?
You want to swear him in? Just swear him in and ask him.
Raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
State your name for the record.
My name is Shigehiko Kiebisu. Shigehiko. Last name Okiebisu.
Okay. And Mr. Jackie,
Yes.
you worked in restaurants for many years?
Yes.
How many years?
6 years.
6 years?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand you have certain responsibilities and obligations as a liquor licensee, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
You understand you can't serve to minors?
Yes, I do.
You understand that you have to close at a particular time?
Yes.
You have to understand that you have to be a good neighbor?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you understand that you have to take an alcohol awareness class in order to be provided a liquor license? Is
Yes.
that correct? Okay. And you have not yet taken that alcohol awareness class, but you intend to do so. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I will. Yes.
Okay.
When?
As soon as I can, I make
Soon as he
appointment,
can.
yes.
Madam Secretary?
That's fine. And I also want to note that there is a email of community support on this as well from Joanne Massapus.
Okay.
What's the next license?
Okay.
What's
What's the next awareness for?
There are several, because there are several providers throughout the city, so he probably could get it as soon as like this next week and next couple
There's
weeks.
actually one provider that does
On demand.
home visits.
Yeah.
They will come to you. You can get the
Home visits.
yes. You can pretty much any day of the week.
Yeah,
you
they'll
can
do it
get
on
your
demand.
alcohol awareness class.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Home visits.
With regard to the other technical.
500,000 capital investment,
Yes, we-
75 people.
Right. We have a floor plan. It has 78 people. There's one minor variation that doesn't affect the tables. The fire department has asked for one aisle to be a little bit more clear of a wall, but
Okay.
otherwise the
floor plan
detailed
on it?
floor plan is accurate.
Should be attached to it. Let
Mhm.
me make sure.
It's in there.
Yeah, it should be in here.
Ooh.
It's nicer. Yeah, it's not a hand.
Actually, one you can read.
Yeah, it's not a hand.
It's one you can read.
With regard to the 500,000,
Right here.
there may in fact be additional monies here, but I may have to explain this just a touch, how we derive these figures. Exhibit A, once you get past the menu in the packet, Ms. Palumbo has put together the figures of the 211,000 is the landlord's expense in building out this premises for the ramen restaurant. I'm sorry, the 142. There's a $150,000 tenant improvement allowance. The other figure is I've requested Ms. Palumbo to do a prorated share of the entire build-out of the project of $27 million, which at 0.77% is $211,801.40. Exhibit B is the proposal for the construction contractor, J.C. Porter. That figure is highlighted at $362,220 in order to accurately reflect the 142 and the 150 from Exhibit A have to be deducted. So that is a net increase of $69,353. In other words, that's monies that Mr. Jackie has to pay over and above his $150,000 landlord tenant allowance. Finally, as Exhibit C is a proposal for all of the kitchen equipment that Mr. Jackie will also have to pay for is $92,259.11. That total is $666,280.51. There's probably several other knickknacks that take that figure up another $50,000, but that's what is presented here for the $500,000 investment.
I see it all. I mean,
Thank you, sir. So we have a 78-seat floor plan. We have over $500,000 investment. We have support of the both community associations. They met with both, presented their idea. They're very excited about it, and they engaged Mr. Jackie very enthusiastically. We respectfully request that the board approve this request for a new Class B license.
Questions from the commissioners?
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Trotter?
Interesting design. No questions.
I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day, sir.
Thank you.
Whose is this?
You're fine. Thank you. I got a copy right here. Yeah, I have a floor plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you've already paid. Thank you.
Okay.
Subject to him taking that.
Yeah. We actually need a lot of things like their trader's license and stuff. They won't get a license until they do all that.
Yeah. No, yeah, no. But I wanted to be last on that one. Huh? Why? Because of him. Because of his. She didn't tell me, and because.
Let's go in the other room for a minute. Rather than being on the record.
Yeah.
I see you had to do your old school melt routine and move around the other end.
I wasn't picking on you.
What's that? No.
I just saw it. I just happened
I
to
didn't
see.
even know I was in there.
I didn't even know it.
I'm glad you
I
guys
didn't
ran.
know I was even in there.
I'm glad you guys sped that one on.
Oh, gee.
Three more licenses expired.
Hit the road, will you?
3 licenses expired before you guys finished that one.
Yeah.
Is this going in there?